signatures already demanding that this knighthood is rescinded, mainly because he's accused of being a warmonger who told lies to get us into war in Iraq and the Middle East. I have other reasons why I think he shouldn't be knighted. Let's talk to the communications director at the Henry Jackson Society, Sam Armstrong. Sam, very happy New Year to you. What do you think, though? Sir Tony Blair, does he deserve it?
Happy New Year, Kev. Look, this is one of the rare times that I disagree with you. Actually, I do think that the award is deserved if I don't think even that that is Tony Blair, deserves it. Look, in the old days, prime ministers in this country got given peerages. Some of them got dukedoms, earldoms, marquises, baronetcies, baronies, and all the rest of it. Frankly, a knighthood is probably the least we've given to our prime ministers in a very long time. The honour system is meant to reward those that provide great services to this nation and to our Queen. The Prime Minister undoubtedly does that. Now, look, I disagree with pretty much everything Prime Minister Tony Blair did. But ultimately, in this country, the award for being a Prime Minister, the Queen's closest advisor on all government issues, ought to be something. And a knighthood, even a senior knighthood order like an Order of the Garter, seems pretty fair to me.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point. Was it 3 terms? A towering figure in the history of this country throughout the 20th century, late 20th century and beyond. So, yeah, I sort of get what you're saying. But you know, and you cannot sort of dissect how the honours system works. You can get it if you can get something if you're a lollipop lady, or a Cub Scout master, or you can get it for being, you know, a long-term servant of the government, a prime minister or whatever. You can't work out why people are honoured. Sometimes, you know, ephemeral sports stars suddenly find themselves knighted because they got a gold medal, you know, and before that you'd never heard of them. So it's hard to work out exactly why people get these honours, which is part of the problem with them, really. But you know, a lot of people say he told lies to get us into the Iraqi war. The Chiltern inquiry proved that, established that beyond all doubt, that he told porcupines to get us involved in a war that cost many, many lives. You know, the sexed up dossier, again, another reason why people might doubt that he deserves a knighthood. My reason for him not deserving a knighthood is this, and I don't want to undermine those serious issues at all, but I think that he should not get a knighthood because he's the guy who landed this country with the hate crime laws. The hate crime laws were the first laws in this country that banned people from saying things, that made things you might say a potential criminal offence. Back to the 17th century, that was not possible. So I don't think that was a forward-thinking step. I think it was a retrograde step. And I think the hate crime laws, as they expand exponentially almost every week, have turned this nation into a nation of curtain-twitching telltales, sneaking on each other about nasty things they may or may not have said. They've also turned the police into a bunch of recorders of wrong-thinking citizens. I think the hate crime laws have been disastrous for this country.
Yeah, look, Kev, and I've seen the same blustering objections to Tony Blair's knighthood that you have. And look, Tony Blair passed a series of laws that I think were stupid. The Human Rights Act, the Equality Act, the hunting laws. There are so many laws that Tony Blair passed.
I'm with him on the hunting laws, but he said he regretted that. He said he thought it was a mistake.
Well, yeah, and the Freedom of Information laws he passed that others are fond of. But look, I think Tony Blair passed so many stupid laws, I can't even tell you. But here's the thing. How many of them have been repealed? Honestly, how many of them have been repealed? Almost none of them. And I just wish for one moment that one of his opponents would focus on repealing these stupid laws that he passed rather than objecting to the knighthood he received. Now, look, I get it. If you don't like a guy, object to him getting an award and a gong and all the rest of it. I get that. But in another sense, I think people who advise the Queen and are Prime Minister of this country should get a gong. And if you, like me, are a big opponent of Tony Blair and his legacy, Nick Timothy wrote this in the Telegraph today, why don't you oppose these stupid laws he passed and repeal some of them? Because frankly, with the Equality Act, the Human Rights Act, Hate Crimes Act, all of these other measures that Tony Blair passed, frankly, the economic welfare state that he passed, we are all still living in Tony Blair land. We are. They've not repealed any of it. The government have hardly got rid of any of it. And why don't you focus on that, opponents of this honour, rather than the gong itself?
And his immigration laws were not at all good, were they? I mean, they're the reason that we have a country that's bursting at the seams right now, because their theory, Labour's theory, is always get as many of these immigrants in because they'll vote for us.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The immigration problem we are facing today was built in, cooked in by Tony Blair all those years ago. And this is why I say we still live in Tony Blair land. No matter the rights or the wrongs of who he was and what he did, all of the problems that he cooked into our system are still with us. And I frankly can't believe why actually so many in the civil service are still of the opinion you can't even touch the Human Rights Act. You can't even touch Tony Blair's reforms to the immigration laws. And as Nick Timothy pointed out today, until Tony Blair came along, this country had never seen net immigration of over 100,000 a year. Tony Blair invented mass immigration in this country, and nothing is being done to stop it. And I'm much more bothered about that than I really am about him getting to kneel down in front of someone. Frankly, I'd rather he spent a lot more time on his knees than he probably has done already.
I mean, in the end, you're quite right, Sam. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. It'll probably make him all chuffed with himself. But then again, he usually is very pleased with himself, so no change there. What this really is, though, what this really indicates is that the all-powerful driving central force in the country of Great Britain, it's not a political party. It's not the Tories. It's not Labour. It isn't the people. It's the establishment. And the establishment will honour its own. The honours list is just basically to honour people from the establishment. That's what we're talking about here, isn't it? Tony Blair was Prime Minister, therefore he must be honoured.
Yeah, look, I absolutely agree with you. And in years of old, the establishment were your Sir Humphreys of the world. Well, I've been in the civil service for 30 years and this is how we do it, chap. And don't you worry about the politicians.
I'll tell you who they are now, Sam. I'll tell you the establishment now all work for The Guardian.
Yeah, this is right. The establishment all got captured by Tony Blair, and they're all these soft left, liberal lefty elites. And you can tell they're now chuntering, even now, at the losing the last vestiges of power, having had, normal conservative sort of people appointed to positions like running the BBC, running Ofcom, all the rest of it. They're moaning and whinging and all the rest of it. And almost I see Tony Blair's knighthood as a sort of tombstone for this dying Blairite consensus that ran this country for a long, long time. And if that's what it is, if that's what Tony Blair joining the fussy-duddy old brigade of velvet-caped retired chaps is, well, look, good for them.
I'll do a deal with you on that, Sam. I'll do a deal with Tony Blair. You can have your damn garter, knighthood, whatever it is, as long as you shut up. But there's not much chance of that, is there? He'll lecture us till the day he dies. Great to talk to you, Sam, as always.